Hey everyone, my name is Tiana Camille Vines, otherwise known as Queen TV, and welcome to my channel. First things first, I want to apologize for those who've seen my first video and were expecting a WandaVision video maybe like a week or so later. And unfortunately that did not happen because I was on the midst of graduating and finishing my senior thesis, and I really thought I could have done it, but time got away from me, and I apologize for that. So I'm not even gonna make any more promises about like what YouTube videos are gonna come out next unless I'm absolutely certain they'll come out when they come out. So moving on from that, welcome. This is now the WandaVision Theory video. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of these already back in January and February when the show was like out and popular, but I still wanted to throw my hat in the ring for what could happen from now on, now that the show's over. When first hearing about the show, I was curious about what was going to happen because, you know, I was like, could the mutants be brought in? But then Wanda and Vision, unfortunately, are not my favorite characters in the MCU. Before watching it, like I mentioned briefly, my very first theory was that Wanda was going to bring in the mutants from XMen. Now, that's a theory I'm sure many of you have heard from many times. And, you know, since in the comics, Wanda got rid of all the mutants in the infamous House of M story. You know, no more mutants. It's only natural that you would think she would bring them in the TV show where she is already making a reality of her own, you know. Say, bring all the mutants or whatever. Not gonna lie though, and Marvel kind of played us with this. Mainly when they brought in Evan Peters, the Quicksilver from Fox's X-Men, which I'm totally fine with that. Why not? I like him. But as someone who was also a big fan of X-Men films, not all of them, but some of them, I was a little ticked off, not amused when he was shown not to actually be Quicksilver. I feel like my hopes were brought up and then crashed back down so quickly. I'm a little sad that they didn't officially like bring Quicksilver back from the dead, technically, mainly because there was a relationship he has with, what's her name, Crystal from the Inhumans, and I thought if they brought him in and kept him, they would bring the Inhumans back, because there was a rumor a while ago about Inhumans being rebooted, so I was like, ooh, okay, that could still be a thing. Now I'm not so sure, but I'll move on from that. This House of M theory though, I wholeheartedly believe it's still a thing, even though WandaVision is over, because you saw that, what's her name, Monika Rambeau, she gained powers by going through Wanda's hex twice. So, I don't know. Is that hinting that maybe Wanda's magic can bring out more powers in people? I do think that this Monika thing, though, shows that Wanda can use her powers to bring about a thing where there's, like, mutants, basically. Now, will that happen in Doctor Strange? I hope so, because I'm tired of waiting for Marvel to bring the mutants into the MCU. Like, just do it. And also, while we're on this whole mutant track for a second, do you think that if mutants are brought into the MCU, that Magneto will be brought in? Like, obviously, because he's like one of the major mutants in the comics, but you know, like he for a brief while he was known to be Pietro and Wanda's actual father. He was known to be their father, but then it found out that he actually wasn't their father, which is it was very confusing. It's like a roller coaster of emotions from that. So like, even if he's brought in, like, will Marvel acknowledge that relationship like they did like, not like Marvel did, but like Fox did with X-Men, which honestly was kind of funny. Personally, I hope they do, because if you go down the theory that Wanda is going to bring in all these alternate realities, like different Earth, I'm sorry, like different Earths, then it's possible that Magneto from Earth 1610, yes, 1610, who went on a murder rampage because Wanda and the Pietro from that Earth died, will come into the main Earth, the main reality in the MCU, and I don't know, connect with Wanda or even manipulate her a little bit. I don't know, but that would be an interesting way to go. Now that I'm hearing it out loud, it sounds like a bit of a stretch, but you never know. Mutants in the MCU definitely is a thing that's going to happen. When it's going to happen is now the question. And if Wanda's going to be the cause of it, we don't know. Another theory is something I'm not going to explore much, just because, again, since Wanda and Vision weren't my favorite heroes, I'm not really into their comics like that much. So, but a lot of fans have said that Mephisto will probably be brought into the MCU. I don't know much about this character. I never heard of him until WandaVision came out. But I do know from my lovely Marvel encyclopedia, he's the reason that Wanda was able to have twins in the first place. But from what I've seen and what other Marvel fans have seen is that the Man Down Under is mentioned or visually hinted at quite a few times in the show. I won't go much into the theory of this too much, mainly because I don't want this video to be too long, and I don't like talking about the Man Down Under. You know, I am a Christian, I believe in God and all that, and for some reason I am very uncomfortable with even mentioning the man in charge of hell. You know, like, it's always been a thing with me as a kid. Even just saying his name sometimes, like, it makes me nervous. So I'm gonna go down this route of the theory. I'll let other people continue on it. I know there's one guy, I forget his name, from the YouTube channel New Rockstars, I think it is, that is way into this Mephisto theory. So if you want to hear more about that theory, I suggest watching either him or some other YouTuber that's really into that theory. But I'm not going to mention much on it, except I will say this. I did discover from my encyclopedia that Mephisto made a deal with Spider-Man, not only to save his Aunt May, but to make everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And I thought that was a little interesting, and this is going to be a huge stretch, but I can see Mephisto in either a future Spider-Man film or see Spider-Man make some kind of cameo in the Doctor Strange film. I know that's a really long stretch, but I can just see those two having some kind of interaction just because of that deal, since, you know, Parker's secret is out. Like, everyone knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Something's gotta happen, right? Now, there obviously isn't a season 2 of WandaVision, but Wanda will be in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Sounds very creepy. I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch it because I hate horror films. My theory is that Doctor Strange will either encounter a phenomenon where Wanda once again created another reality for herself, this time using the Darkhold, and bring her family back. This is more of a speculation than anything, though, ever since White Vision is still out there, kind of just roaming the earth. None of that, but I think Wanda might get a bit in over her head with this movie, and we'll probably get to see another returning character, Agatha Harkness, who I would love to see again, because honestly, in that whole show, she was like one of my favorites. Like, even when WandaVision have a whole show for themselves, they're still not my favorite characters. I'm sorry. Agatha really stole the show for me. Going back to the Agatha thing, I do believe she'll be in Doctor Strange, or mentioned even, mainly because Agatha, as most of you know, was Wanda's mentor in the comics, and there's a brief dialogue between them in the final episode of WandaVision. Now, I'm going to go out on them here and say that Agatha might come back to either help Doctor Strange take care of Wanda or help Wanda understand things in the Darkhold. Basically, if Agatha does come back, she might turn into Wanda's Loki or Zemo, being an enemy who now has to help the hero. I think it's pretty obvious that Wanda will probably be seen as a villain in the movie, but I think it's one of those things where she's trying to save her sons and not seeing the damage she's causing by doing so. And I need to change this camera battery, so I'm going to stop here. let's continue. So I believe I said something about Wanda. This whole video is about Wanda. Ah, yes. Yeah, guys, I had to write down some of the stuff I was gonna talk about because my brain, it tends to wander. My roommate could tell you this. We had such a weird conversation last night about me being president and what I would do, and it just kept spiraling downhill from there. My brain wanders, so I needed to like write everything down that I was gonna say. We will see Vision and the twins again, especially the twins. In the comics, Wanda brought them back to life and separated them into different homes. Don't ask me why. I don't quite remember that for the reason for that. But however, what I'm wondering is if the Young Avengers, the next generation Avengers with America Chavez and Kate Bishop, I'm wondering if the twins are brought back and kept in the MCU. Will they become Wiccan and Speed, and will they join the Young Avengers? Like, will the Young Avengers be a thing later down the line? Obviously not in this phase. It's too early for that. We're only introducing 2 of those characters so far, I think. But later, like in future phases, will we have our next generation Avengers that are like kids, not, the grown adults that are taking over Captain America's role or Iron Man's role or whatever. So that's actually all I really have to say about WandaVision. Not a lot, because again, I don't know that much about them since they're not my favorites. But those are my thoughts on where it is and where it will lead. More on where it will lead. We didn't really talk about the final episode that much. I'm sure some of the things I've said have already been said 1,000 times before, so I'm sorry if you're hearing it again and again. But like I said in my first video, I'm just throwing my opinion into the equation. Throwing something in, hopefully adding something new for some of you, or bringing back, or just adding a voice to a theory that already exists. Because normally those theories tend to have some form of truth to them. So the more popular a theory is, in my opinion, the more likely some kind of variation of it will happen. That's kind of all for this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button down below, wherever that is when I actually edit this. And if you want to take a look at some of the short films and dance videos I've done in my film school years, click on my channel button and go visit that. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. I certainly enjoyed making them. And also, I know I said I wasn't going to promise when I was going to post the next video, but this one, I'm sure I'm posting it when I'm about to say it. So my next video will be my Falcon and Winter Soldier theories. And I will be posting that in a couple of days because I am determined to get that out before the Loki series comes out on Disney Plus, because I want that out of the way. So then like if there's any theories from that might connect with Loki, we can get that out of the way and not have any confusion, So I'll be hosting that in a couple of days, and then right after that I'll be posting a video about my theories about the Loki trailer, also coming out before the Loki series comes out. I'll be busy. So be on the lookout for those. And, if you want to see more of this stuff, do subscribe and enjoy. Okay, I'll see y'all. Bye.